come back next week. We're going to do a mock draft and compare it to our old mock, and it's going to be chaos.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a lot of
so
fun.
good.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rough Draft Research. We have finished the draft. We just did day 3. We are on to new things. We're going to do a 3-round mock like we did previously next week. We're going to do this next week, a 3-round mock. And to prepare for that, we've got a little content for you. So this is kind of like a mock preview. Kind of did our own research, and we're going to share that with you. But to get started, we're going to start with value versus needs. I'm going to kick it over to Christian, and we'll talk about it. Let's go.
Yeah, so obviously value on picks versus need on team is always an interesting conversation. It's fascinating because the more I thought about it, like there's no real answer. Value is always going to be completely subjective. Like we did rankings that we'll get into later that you'll see. A couple people fell super hard for me that maybe won't for other people. So the value is always going to inherently be different for each person. Makes it a little hard. That being said, I did come up with 4 kind of like general rules to think about when you're doing value versus need. And so my number 1 rule, and I think this should be obvious, is try to marry the two. So in a perfect world, the value of your pick is going to line up exactly with what you need. And sometimes if it doesn't, you can kind of manifest your own perfect world. So say you're at 5 and Kyle Pitts is staring you right in the face, but you've got George Kittle and Darren Waller and you need a running back. Now, you could take Kyle Pitts because that's the value and then try and flip somebody. Or why don't you think about trading back and getting a first, maybe like the 1-8 and a first next year? Or maybe the 1-8 and a second, or the 1-8 and a player, something like that, and then take Michael Carter. So there you got your value already. You got your kind of value for what you would have gotten for Kyle Pitts. No, you're missing out on Kyle Pitts, which is kind of a bummer, but you're helping your team out, and then you're still picking up that value, and you can use it right away. I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on that one? Or
I mean... That's a perfect example. I know I'm crazy, so I would try to like sell the vet like Waller, and then take Pitts, but try to recoup a young running back as well. But I think you summed it up great. That's a real nice example there.
All right, cool. Yeah, I guess my thought of the danger of trying to flip a vet is like, who knows what's going to happen, and maybe somebody's not going to want it the way you're, and then you're just kind of fucking yourself. Now you have these 3 great tight ends that you can't move on from. Now, it can work. Obviously, Waller's great, George Kittle's great, and whatever. Anyway.
But the thing with, I mean, I love talking about this because it just gets me thinking about everything. But when you're talking about value and you're talking about vets and what is a vet worth, there's so much built into that. Like, who got burnt by like a Dalvin Cook injury 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And so stuff just gets nuts, man.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's why I always try to fill my team through the youngsters, because it's like, do I want to pay what you think this vet is worth?
Yeah.
Or like, is he worth less to me because of some jaded bullshit in the past?
That's fair. I think weird. I run into that all the time.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, another thing, know your league mates too.
Yeah.
Like, who wants Kyle Pitts? Who's going to pay the most for him? Who's a Falcon fan? You know, know those players, because a lot of the trades, like I just got Cortland Sutton and Josh Jacobs for Kenny Galladay and a 2022 first and Adam Troutman and I think a third or second. And it's because the guy was a New York Giants fan and he was just hyped to have Kenny Galladay. So I kind of played him a little bit. So know your teammates, and that'll help you out a lot too if you're trying to trade back or whatever. But let's go
more.
To
all right. So rule number 2: do not rely on consensus value. Go get the guys you want. At the end of the day, every single rookie has a chance to bust. I've got a short list of players since 2014 that were taken on average in the top 5 picks of rookie drafts. Here we go. Sammy Watkins, Bishop Sankey, TJ Yeldon, Devonta Parker, Laquan Treadwell, Corey Coleman, Kerryon Johnson, who just got cut, and Royce Freeman. My point in saying that is everybody has an equal chance to bust no matter how you feel about them. So if you value somebody more than everybody else and you can't trade out, just take the guy you like. I mean, they're always going to be a dice roll. So don't just go on perceived value. Now, are your league mates going to make fun of you? Yes, mercilessly. All the time.
Yeah.
But it's going to be so much worse if you took a guy because his consensus value was there and then he bust. Because now, not only did he bust, you're stuck with a guy who you didn't even want in the first place because you thought somebody was going to be better. Now you have to watch that guy do better.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're just going to be pissed. So if you can't trade out, there is no shame in overpaying for a guy that you believe in because at the end of the day, it's a crapshoot. It just really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. How many times have you it's Sunday and you're checking the box scores and you're checking that guy that you didn't draft because you thought, you got scared out of it because you wanted him and you were right. But the value wasn't there.
Yeah, you were like, people aren't going to think that I'm smart or whatever. No, don't.
Sure, Antonio Gibson will be there at the 2-8, whatever. But yeah, you forgot to mention N'Keal Harry in your list of top 5.
Yeah, that's fair.
Man.
It happens all the time. A lot of these dudes are gonna bust. So.
Yeah, find a reason to like a player that's not someone else's website.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
All right, so general rule number 3: don't screw your team over to get value. If you have a team that you feel is one specific piece away from competing for the championship, don't ignore that need to pick up a value. Like, for example, if you are in the later half of the first round and Devonta Smith's there, and you're like, holy shit, Devonta Smith, the Heisman Trophy winner, he's still here at the 1-7, I'm going to take him. But you needed a running back, you just screwed yourself by not taking like a Michael Carter or maybe if Javonte Williams fell or whoever. Because now you've got a lot of receivers already, and now you're going to end up having to sell one of them for a running back anyway. So you're just right back where you started. You haven't made any ground. Like now you have that value, but you're going to have to get weaker at wide receiver probably to replace that running back that you ignored. Unless you have multiple firsts, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, you could end up screwing yourself out of a player that you need just because the value was there. And it just doesn't make sense a lot of the time. And again, that goes back into the trade back thing too.
Absolutely.
Somebody wants Devonta Smith, trade back a pick and pick up a second rounder, Somebody will do that.
Yeah, and it's really hard to convince someone to accept a rookie wide receiver for a proven running back.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So just get what you need and get the hell out, man. Go 100%. To the store and buy a single tomato. Yeah. It's fine.
It's fine. And now I will say, if you're a rebuilding team and you just need everybody, then yeah, absolutely go for value. But this is for more like competing teams that are close.
Yeah, have a strategy if you're gonna.
Yeah,
before just completely fucking yourself.
Right. Don't put yourself in a position to have to rebuild because you got a little weird.
Yeah, you just one step forward, one step back kind of deal. And number 4, and the last rule, and I think this might be one of the most important, don't be hyper committed either way. This is not a rigid conversation. It's very fluid. It comes down to your team and the scenario you're in. If a player pops up that you see as an unbelievable value that you don't want to pass on, take him, even if he doesn't fill a need, if that's what you want to do. At the same time, don't ignore your needs just for value's sake. It's a conversation that you need to have with yourself. What makes the most sense? Don't always take value. Don't always take need, because there are ways to fix it no matter what. And you want to like your fantasy team, right? This is a dynasty league. You want to win with a team that you made and that you're proud of. So at the end of the day, that's what you need to focus on. Fuck everybody else and their opinions about your team. Do what you want to do, and don't be so structured on a specific way of doing things. Just kind of be lucid and figure it out as you go.
Hell yeah, man.
And those are my 4 general rules of value.
Yeah, I think, you always just go into a draft knowing what you're missing and knowing who you like, and then try to bridge that gap.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, sometimes you can't pass on a guy,
For sure. Yeah, but gosh, I love it. It's that time of the year, man, where it's like...
I'm so hyped we moved our draft up a week.
Fuck yeah. That's going to be awesome.
It's gonna go so fast.
Yeah, we gotta lock down.
No, it's not gonna go fast. I mean,
Ian's in the league. I forgot.
I was gonna say he's got 3 picks in the top 14, and I'm doing a road trip on Sunday, so I hope it don't slow you guys down too much.
It'll be all right.
That's okay. It'd be good strategy. I'll just be getting more and more drunk and then making my one pick terrible. The only pick I have. Never mind. I'll be just fine.
You're gonna be by Wednesday when it's your turn to pick. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, we just spent so much time with these rookies, man. It's like it's coming up. It's like,
this is the hardest class for me because I know every name going off the board now. Like a couple of years ago, like people were getting taken. I'm like, who the fuck is that? Like, But now, like every single person that gets taken, I'm like, oh no, I really liked him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's great too because you can tell we spent so much time when we did our mock. I was looking like Jonathan Adams in the 4th or 5th round, and he went like people that went undrafted. I was like, oh man, I can really see him going here in the 4th round. Like, I forgot there's defense and tackles. I forgot all about that.
No, what is a linebacker?
Right? You don't need that, dude. Get another receiver.
Right? You got enough receivers. You won't need any linebackers.
Well, moving on, we did do this research. I don't know how to explain it. I just filled it out as it appeared in our Google Drive. So I'm going to take it over to the Darthur cam, and he's going to kind of explain this thing he built for us to do, which is super cool. So I'm going to kick it over to you, man. Let's do it.
Okay, yeah, this was not an intentional homework assignment, but we were doing our post-draft top 36 rankings, and I did it once where I was, looking at the NFL draft board and thinking it through. And then I did it once where I was rearranging my pre-draft rankings. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, I feel like this is all very subjective. So I just made a little spreadsheet where I rated the landing spot, I rated the potential future roles, and then the raw talent, which I'm basically saying is similar to my pre-draft rankings.
Yeah.
And then some great draft capital, which is a bump. And then I looked at them with and without the capital and went from there. And it really affected things in a major way. I thought it kind of put things in context without having to think about it while you're looking at it. It took the weird bias out of it for me.
Well, I'll pop your sheet up so people kind of just have an idea of what it looked like here.
Yeah. So this is where we started out, and it's ranked right now by the finishing grade, but
you can control it, can't you?
Oh yeah, I can do whatever I want. But if you rank it by landing spot, you can see, a couple of things. Obviously, there's some major opportunities for some of these wide receivers that weren't, crazy awesome, like FitzPatrick and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But I think we're going to go ahead and just do an overview of how we all ended up filling them a and talk about landing spots and future roles as well as little bump here, like the spot versus the talent boost and stuff like that.
Cool.
Hell yeah, baby.
Well, let's just take a look. I'll put on the screen of our kind of final consensus.
Yeah.
And I got a few notes just for me specifically. Just some quick take notes. The biggest fallers after doing this for me, Travis Etienne fell pretty hard. Rashod Bateman fell enormously. And by far the most, however, was Kenny Gainwell. Fell all the way down to like a 3rd round grade for me. Now, that's not saying that I would take him in the 3rd round or like wouldn't take him in the 2nd, obviously. But doing this is why we did this, is to put in perspective how we kind of almost subconsciously feel about these guys, like, and everything included with them. So that was pretty crazy. And then risers, Trey Sermon got a huge bump for me, which is a guy who I've been, I don't want to say negative on, but less on as you two have. And he got a pretty good bump. Nico Collins, another guy that got a huge bump, and we'll probably talk about why later. And then Cornell Powell, massive bump. Jumped from not even on the top 36 almost to like the 2nd round for me.
Yeah, that offense is pretty good.
That's
a pretty cool quarterback.
Yeah, you covered a lot of the major ones. I'd say probably Josh Palmer and definitely Cornell Powell with the Chiefs. And then if you were talking about guys falling, obviously your boy Hubbard.
Oh, yeah, Chuba.
Oof.
Chuba fell. That was sad. I mean, I still want him as a McCaffrey owner, but...
I mean, I still want him as a fan of football.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's just, he got a little bit deuced on in that.
I know a few guys that wanted him really bad in the middle 2nd round, and now they're like, eh.
Right.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Well, cool, guys. You want to just kind of go through the list here, and I'll just, for reference, we can, I don't know if you guys want to follow us on Twitter, Rough Research Draft, I think is that. I'll put it on the screen and editing. But yeah, we'll just post a picture of our rankings too, and a picture of it blank if you want to fill it out at home. You're gonna have to make it all yourself, or you're not sharing our Google Drive. I don't trust any of you guys. If you're interested in that sheet, I was just thinking, if you want to send us a direct message, we can share that sheet with you.
Yeah.
Like
it's super helpful for doing rankings.
and it's just fun to do. Like if you're like us and you're at work with nothing else to do, it was a really fun thing. So if you want to DM us,
that'd definitely be something that would be on our website whenever we get that up and running.
Exactly. So
check us out, 2022.
2022. Yeah, I like that. But we'll go through it, and then I'll just kind of flip back as a reference point to the desktop, and we'll kind of fill this out maybe. Or
sounds good.
Or let's just talk about it.
Okay, shit. We want to just fill a blank one out as a team.
I mean, we can.
Oh goodness.
That's too much.
Yeah, let's just kind of go through it. And let's just start with the 101, Jacksonville's Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, yeah, okay. Going in order that way. Gotcha.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, so Trevor Lawrence for me, I gave him a 5 for future role because he's going to be the starting quarterback, and a 5 in raw talent because it's Trevor Lawrence. And then I gave him a 4 for the landing spot. Now, I don't know what you guys did for the landing spot.
Yes, let's talk about this because we have all different perspectives on how we fill this out. So it's very interesting.
5-5 future role and raw talent.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
5-5 for you, AJ.
Yeah. I went 5 across the board, but after thinking about it, I would agree and send him down. But like, tell us why.
Well, okay, so this one I have a little less like statistical information, and it's just Urban Meyer is rubbing me the wrong way super hard.
This shit's personal.
Like, I don't. He has the classic like flame out college coach vibe to me so far.
Yeah,
and I could be wrong. The reasons I think this, he didn't do anything to fix his offensive line despite having more money than anybody in free agency, which feels like my system works and it'll work regardless of the players I have. Chip Kelly. Then he goes out and signs Tim Tebow, which I know he's probably like he may not even make the roster, but it just still seems like a weird thing to do. And then the way he's talking about Etienne, which is another guy this landing spot affected, he wants him to be a third down back in splitting time with Carlos Hyde and James Robinson, like the best running back in the draft.
We're good.
Didn't make sense to me. And so not fixing the offensive line is definitely the biggest one, but just the kind of vibe I'm getting. It feels like Trevor Lawrence could be could he get Andrew Luck here, where he still plays well, but then he gets so beat up that he has to quit? Like, I know that's never happened before, other than Luck, but anyway, I'll stop ranting.
No, dude. I think to truly have this conversation, for me to, rebuttal or give my 2 cents, because I gave him a 3 for the landing spot.
That's even less than me. So,
well, you kind of have to talk about almost all the rookie quarterbacks if you want to think about it.
Yeah.
To me, it's a 3 because there's a reason Jacksonville had the number 1 overall spot.
Yeah,
and a lot of that
fair.
was a bottom 10 O-line that didn't really get upgraded at all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sure, if you think a good landing spot for a rookie quarterback is starting day 1, then we got multiple.
Yeah, that's fair.
But to me, the
maybe
landing
I should have
spot
had it
is
longer or lower. Yeah,
new coach, new everything, and then if you compare it to Trey Lance, who walks into a stellar offensive unit with an established coaching system, he got the 5.
Yeah, he got a 5 for me as well.
And then, I don't know.
Let's just piggyback off of that and talk the rest of Trey Lance into Zach Wilson.
Okay.
I had 5 on the landing and future, and then I gave him a 4 for the raw talent. So
For Trey Lance, I had 5 on landing, 5 for future role, and 3.75 for raw talent. Just because, I don't know, we haven't seen him pass enough, in my opinion. He's a great runner, but I need to see him throw more before I'm willing to slap that 4 on him. Also, a peek behind the curtain, I had way too many ties, so I started throwing in, like, decimal numbers. So
this is a major tie for me. I would probably echo your sentiment with the 3.75. And another thing, I wanted to give him a 4.5 landing spot because there's a chance he's not the day 1 starter.
Yeah.
But I thought, no, F that. This landing spot is amazing.
Even if he's not day 1, it's still
Dynasty.
an amazing.
Yeah, you're
right.
good.
You can wait. It's fine.
Go pick up FitzPatrick to carry over. He'll be good. So what about Zach Wilson, guys?
So Zach Wilson, I gave a landing spot ranking of 4.5 and a future role rating of 5, and then the raw talent of 3.5.
So 3.5 on the landing spot, a 4 for future, and a 4 for the talent, which I would echo again, lower talent. But the 3.5 is the same for me. I give them the bump because they did do some good stuff in the draft. They got Vera Tucker, and then they got Elijah Moore. So he's coming in with some weapons and protection.
Yeah.
But it's still an iffy team with iffy skill position and a new coaching system, a defensive-minded head coach.
Not even going to mention Michael Carter?
That's fair. Well, okay, so the landing spot for the Jets, the reason I'm so high, and I was even more high on Michael Carter, he got a 5 on landing spot for me, whereas Wilson only got a 4.5 These numbers are just
Carter,
okay. Insane to me. So when Matt LaFleur, coming out of Kyle Shanahan's offense, showed up in Green Bay, the Packers jumped from the 22nd ranked rushing offense to the 15th in the first year. Shanahan had a rough first year, but after his first year, he went from 21st to 13th in rushing. McVay took LA from 31st to 8th in rushing. That's awesome. Like, if you can give a rookie quarterback a great running game right to start with and a good offensive line, and this offense is very quarterback friendly. It's very easy to kind of run. And I mean, you see what a guy like as talented as Aaron Rodgers can do with it. And then fucking McVay took Jared Goff to the Super Bowl, and Shanahan took Garoppolo to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So now yes, Robert Saleh is defensive minded, but he brought over Mike LaFleur.
Right.
They're gonna be running this same offense, and I'm super excited about it.
Okay.
I think it's gonna work, especially for Michael Carter.
You've done it. I feel like Michael Carter's a poster child of this episode so far.
Yeah.
Like don't let him out of your first round rookie drafts
Hell
is
no.
what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I know what I need to do.
All right. Well, let's keep trucking along here, and we can start. Well, I mean, let's start Kyle Pitts, and then we'll probably just start lumping them together.
That's
so you
fair.
can kind of start breezing through this a little bit. So let's talk Kyle Pitts, I mean, he's got to be landing spots 5 across the board, or like.
I gave him a 4.75 for landing
Oh
spot.
my god!
I gave him a 4.
Just because Matt Ryan, he's old. He's
That's
getting
true.
old, and
That
they
O
don't
line
have,
has questions too.
That's fair. So there are tiny questions.
Don't forget the other first round draft capital tied in there.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. So Hurst is there, Ridley's there, Julio probably might be there.
Yeah.
So
I
you're
have
looking
him-
at an established team.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's a superstar, but he's a tight end.
Yeah.
Still on a team with really, really stellar wide receivers. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't come in and establish himself as a 15 targets a game that he could have maybe pulled off somewhere else.
Yeah, that's fair.
in the perfect landing spot, like LA or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So I just kind of that was my little knock on him, is that I don't think it's a perfect situation, but he still ended up with the best overall grade of anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my number one grade out of all of them. No one's getting 15 targets a game, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
get a little nuts.
I was definitely optimistic a little with Arthur Smith coming in there.
Yeah.
You know, if he's
that's a huge bump.
Yeah, if he's successful, his whole offense could run through him.
Yeah.
But that's also a long play, a short-term play, but also possibly, you're looking at Travis Kelce.
Side note, I do think there's a better chance that Julio is traded than that he stays in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
So
Me too.
I think that could open it up a lot.
Hey,
But-
man, don't
Dude,
forget
I'm
Laquan.
stoked.
Still,
Is Laquan Treadwell still there?
who cares?
I can check.
Someone did in 2018 or whatever years.
No one
No,
did.
2016.
That would have
16
been
or
you
something,
that did then, but
So let's start lumping these guys together. We'll go Jamar Chase, Jaylen Waddle, Devonta Smith. So, SEC receivers. It'll be a theme here.
Yeah. So Chase definitely ended up with the best overall grade to me. That was mostly because I gave him a 5 for raw talent. I gave Devonta Smith a 5 for raw talent and Waddle a 4. What hurt Smith, though, was the landing spot of the Eagles. I gave that a 3. Now,
interesting.
do you guys think I am too low on the Eagles? Because I did give his future role rating a 5 because I think he'll be the number 1 option in Philly. I just don't trust Philly.
Don't trust Philly. Well, that is something that Doug Peterson made sure America was chanting in the streets after that Super Bowl. But
I think I have that. I think that's a bumper sticker on my car.
Don't trust Philly. I just think
Right next to a hashtag fuck Nick Foles. Fuck.
I'll give you my rundown and then I'll try to defend it. So, yeah, I've got Jamar Chase as a 5 on the raw talent, and then 4 and 4 for Waddle and Smith. And then the landing spot is a 4 for Chase, a 4 for Smith, and a 3 for Waddle.
Okay.
So, but then basically future role is 5 across the board.
Yeah, that was me too.
So Waddle, I've put a 4-5, but
Yeah.
it's basically gonna be a 5 if because Will Fuller's on a 1 year, Preston Williams a free agent
That's
after
fair.
this season. Yeah. So I think he's got the potential to be number 1 there easy, like this year Jaylen Waddle does.
Yeah.
So anyway, I
I
just
could see
think
that for sure.
I think Devonta Smith comes in day 1, and if Zach Ertz gets traded, which kind of feels like that's going to happen, what's up? He could be a monster there. I think the landing spot is pretty solid.
I agree. I feel like in recent years, Philly is just kind of where super talented people go to die.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it's where mediocre players go to get the hype train fucking coal mined, man.
yeah, that's fair.
But Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
All right. You guys
Well,
want
let's
to keep
see.
moving along, or do we have any other points with these guys?
No, I mean, for the record, the final scores, Smith and Waddle had the exact same 4.5 score, and Chase had a 4.75. So I don't see these guys as being bad, obviously, by any means, and they're all very close together.
Yeah. Mine's pretty much the same, except Waddle's a 4.13 because the landing spot's a little worse. But I could see, that's like the injury, the
Yeah.
IR train through Miami. So
Yeah.
whoever's healthy in that offense is going to be awesome.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'm gonna just start lumping people together that kind of seem similar. So let's we'll if I skip over someone, we'll come back. So let's just lump these slot receivers together. So let's go Kadarius Toney, Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore, and Dwayne Eskeridge.
Okie dokie.
Well, Eskeridge ended up being the worst for sure. 3 for landing spot, 2.5 for future roll because so many motherfuckers are there.
Forever.
Yeah, none of them are leaving. And then I got a 3 for raw talent. Toney ended up by far the best score. He had a 4.06. I gave him almost a 4 for landing spot, 3.75, and then a 4 for future roll and a 4 for raw talent.
Interesting.
And then I gave Moore a 4.5 for landing spot and a 4 for raw talent. So basically my rankings ended up Toney, Moore, Eskeridge.
Yeah. Toney,
about the other
Moore, Eskeridge, same. Yeah. So you're talking about Elijah Moore or Rondale Moore?
Yeah, sorry, Elijah Moore.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much there with you, except on Toney. It is that same order: Toney, Elijah, Rondale, and then Eskeridge. Which poor Eskeridge, man. I got him as a 2 on a landing spot and a future because that's There's no free agents up in there ever.
Did you need a field stretcher? Like, I don't know what.
I think it's great. This guy.
Not for fantasy.
I didn't watch a single player this offseason out of the 60, 70 guys that was like, holy shit, is that Tyreek Hill? He was the one guy that was like fucking all over the field, just running routes. Man, he just he could take a post and just fucking it was nuts. But I'm in on him. I think he's gonna be a name that you hear about, but he's not ever gonna be even the number 2.
Yeah. That was my thing with him. And also, I misspoke. I had the wrong order. Elijah Moore was actually first for me, then Toney.
Okay.
But again, I'm super high on the Jets. So.
Yeah, Elijah Moore. I don't know. Mine is. Let me just.
I mean, Mike LaFleur.
Oh, it's sorted by
Elijah
draft
Moore.
pick. Not
Yeah, I
score
had it
right
sorted by
now.
draft pick too, not score, and then I had to switch that. So that might be.
Okay.
Well,
so,
yeah, you guys won't need to pay attention to that. I'm going to just start lumping people together. So
Okay.
if I end up missing someone, we can always come back.
Yeah, you're good.
So mine's Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore, Toney, and Eskeridge is in the basement.
So yeah, Rondale Moore and Eskeridge are. So Eskeridge ended up 30th overall, and Rondale Moore was 27th.
So Rondale's 16 for me. So I'm just going to talk about that a little
go
bit
for it.
because that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
For him, I have the landing spot rating as a 4, and the future as a 4, and the raw talent as a 3.5. And I think he could be the day 1 number 2 on that team. You talk about AJ Green. We know about Christian Kirk. Everybody knows about Andy Isabella. You know, Kirk, free agent next year. AJ Green, free agent next year. Hopkins commands respect, double coverage even. Mm-hmm. So the opportunity for Rondale to come in and just be that quick read for Kyler is out of this world for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wasn't in on him because of the size. And now with this landing spot,
in.
I'm like, I'm heavily in.
See, I think so. I give him 3s across the board. I don't know, man.
He's tiny.
He's so small, and so is their quarterback. And I just see it being this like fucked conundrum. I find myself pulling away from the Arizona offense.
Yeah, I don't like Cliff.
And I might be too early on this, and apparently not because you're kind of with me. But I just find myself pulling away. So this might be a little more one of those more like feelings based ones and less like stat based ones.
Sure.
But I'm just kind of like, oh man, I see this like. I see why they took him. He has this huge potential, and I just feel like it's gonna like be like sand through their fingertips. It's just not gonna work.
Yeah,
but I could be wrong. This is definitely a guy like that I would flag for. You might be wrong about this guy.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I think he's worth a mid-second. I think
That's fair.
A thing with the Cardinals is the identity of this team is yet to be established.
Yeah.
And when you have Chase Edmonds and you've got Connor from Pittsburgh, now in Arizona, James Conner. Then both free agents next year. What does their draft look like next year? What does the running game look like in the future? So in a dynasty draft, betting on something so unpredictable as the Cardinals offense is just
that's gotta be tough. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. I mean, don't forget hashtag Eno Benjamin.
Slot receiver.
Let's just knock out the top 3 running backs here. So Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Javonte Williams, Najee to Pittsburgh, Travis to Jacksonville, and Javonte to Denver. So
weird because Michael Carter's in my top 3 running backs.
Yes, he is.
So,
For me as well.
so we can talk about that.
Let's lump that boy in there.
Boom.
All right, so for the 4 running backs, so what hurt Etienne? He ends up being 4th out of my top 4 running backs, and it's all the landing spot. He got a 4 for future role and a 5 for raw talent, but I gave him a 2.5 for that landing spot. Terrible offensive line, coach I don't trust, and a coach that's talking about using him to split time. I know that's probably just coach speak. Like, I get it.
It's not.
But it's still weird, and I don't like it. So that's what knocked him down a lot. Whereas that's what bumped Michael Carter up a shit ton. Because I gave him a 5 for landing spot and a 5 for future role. Because who's he got to fight? P. Ryan?
I hope so.
I mean, when I think future role, I gave him a 4 on the future role because there's no way that he's the bell cow for the next.
I don't know, man. He's about the same size as Aaron Jones.
Yeah, but Aaron Jones has never really been a bell cow either.
I mean, he gets the dominant amount of work in that offense.
Yeah, but he hasn't ever had a backfield alone like Michael
Yeah.
Carter's about to have for 1 year only. Is what I'm saying.
That's fair. Okay.
I mean, I'm with you. I give him a 4 for the future.
Yeah.
But
So-
it's hard for me to commit to 5 without thinking a day 2 running back ends up there.
Yeah.
Even though he wasn't even a day 2 running back, but whatever.
That's fair. Yeah, that kind of hurts him, his draft capital for sure. But I'm super high on him. Another guy I'm still super high on, Javonte Williams. A lot of people got upset about this landing spot.
Stupid.
I think for this year, it's not the best. But Melvin Gordon's a free agent. And Javonte Williams can do everything that Melvin Gordon does, which is why they drafted him. So Gordon's
Traded
gone.
up to get him.
Yeah, they traded up to get him. Gordon's gone after this year. So, no, maybe if you need a running back to come in and produce this year by himself, maybe Javonte's not your guy. But for future, which is what Dynasty's all about, this dude crushes it.
For sure. Yeah, I think he is a 50-50, if not better this year.
Yeah.
So startable, especially we know that Melvin Gordon has shared a backfield and produced alongside another running back. So I think you'd be happy. I got 3.5 on the landing spot, 5 for the future, and 4 on the talent. So
I got 4 on landing, 5 on future, and 4.5 for raw talent.
Oh, okay. So you're really into him. I love him. I think that Denver is a quarterback away, and I do think they are building this team pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. And then we can't not talk about Najee Harris. I gave him a 4.5 for landing, a 5 for future role, and a 4.5 for raw talent. I think Etienne was by far the most talented running back, which is why I gave Javonte and Najee both 4.5s instead of 5s. And I could probably go down to 4 on landing spot, but Pittsburgh just seems to always be good no matter what's going on.
For sure.
But I'm a little worried about Ben being gone, but they do seem to want to commit more to the run game, and he is blowing everybody in that backfield out of the water. He's the day 1 starter, easy.
Yeah. I got my weird symbols. He's my day 1 start. Him and Michael Carter, the only day 1 starter running backs.
Yeah.
But yeah, a little different. Not really, actually. 5 for spot, 5 for future role, and 4 for talent. So we come out to the same average. But I thought this spot is amazing. It's obvious what they've wanted to do. They did it for years, and they just couldn't do it with James Conner. So
Yeah.
now they got a guy that can hold it down. I differ from you just in general. I didn't have a running back that was greater than a 4 in this class. And that's just because I think of Swift and I think of Taylor from last year where those guys were 5s and they're superior to all of these guys.
That's fair.
So I didn't feel right giving a 5 to them. I obviously gave my 5 to Pitts, to Jamar Chase, even Rashod Bateman.
Yeah.
But I withheld from that. But everything else you've said, I echo completely. I don't know if we just want to move on to Trey Sermon. I mean, he was also traded up to get.
Yeah.
I think that he could share the number 2 role. He could be the number 2 guy and split touches as early as this year. I gave him a 3.5 on the landing, 4 for future, and 3.5 for talent. I mean, we know that I like this guy a lot, but the landing spot for me is hurt a little bit by the addition of Elijah Mitchell because, I mean, that guy's amazing as well, and that was a super value pick. Atlanta, you should have can grab that, but whatever.
So I'm with you. I actually gave both of them a 5 on landing spot, and it's because Mostert's gone and Wilson's gone after the end of this year. They're not signing either. There's no way. They just drafted 2 running backs. That's what they were doing it for, is to replace these guys. So I think it ends up being a 1-2 punch, Trey Sermon and Elijah Mitchell next year. And I'm super stoked about it. That's that perfect thunder and lightning to me. Mm-hmm. And so I gave them both a 5. Future role, though, I gave them both a 3 because they're going to be splitting with each other.
Yep.
And then Sermon, I gave a 3.5 for raw talent. And Elijah Mitchell, I gave a 4.
Okay.
So, but again, I've always been a little more down on Sermon than you guys have. And I've always been a really high on Mitchell.
Yep.
And so, but they basically ended up... Trey Sermon finished with a final grade of 3.88, and Elijah Mitchell finished with a final score of 3.63. So Sermon's still a little higher because of his draft capital, and I think he will be the starter next year. And then Elijah Mitchell is going to be that kind of... I relate it to like Tevin Coleman, Devonta Freeman type offense, and I'm super stoked on both of them. And yes, I kind of want Sermon now. I'm not going to get him because I don't have any second-round picks, but it made me want to... It made me interested in Trey Sermon, which I wasn't before, where he landed.
All right.
Yeah, it's fucking me up because all I want to do is take my wide receivers. But, if I'm looking at Michael Carter in the late first, and Trey Sermon comes around the early second, like all of a sudden, I got for sale signs up in my yard. I'm keeping those fellas for sure.
Awesome, guys. My only 2 cents on that is... how many, as far as red zone goes, let's say going into next year, is Trey Lance going to get all those red zone rushes? That's like the only concern I had.
I know my landing spots were
so it's like it could be either way. Like they could be
than yours.
They could be fed the ball, running the clock. But like when it gets within the 5, I feel like it's the Trey Lance show. But I could be wrong. We'll see.
If you give the Elijah Mitchell the ball after the 20, you ain't getting to the 5, dog.
Oh, shit. All right,
Touchdown
Aaron Jones in the house.
It's going to be a fun team to watch.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Unfortunately, I hate the 49ers.
We are at about the 50-minute mark, but I'm going to start lumping other guys together. So let's go Rashod Bateman, Terrace Marshall, and Josh Palmer.
Okay.
This kind of all seem similar
builds. Bateman got crushed by his landing spot, and I'll get into it in a second. Future role, though, I gave him a 4.5 because he's going to be he walks in the number 1 to me.
I'd say he has I put him as potential 1 this year, not day 1, but
okay, that's fair. Well, and then raw talent, I give him a 5.
Yep.
The reason he dropped even after Terrace Marshall, Toney, Elijah Moore is his landing spot, which I gave a 1.5, and I have notes for that. I know everybody's talking, the Ravens are going to reinvent their passing game with Bateman, blah, 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 blah. All right, so in 2018, Lamar Jackson's first year, John Brown had 715 yards and 5 touchdowns. Flacco played 9 of those games. The leading wide receiver the next year in 2019 was Hollywood Brown, 584 yards, 7 touchdowns. Lamar won MVP. 2020, it was Brown again with 769 yards and 8 touchdowns. He's never had a receiver go above 770 yards, and he only averages 24 attempts a game. Mark Andrews is still there. Hollywood Brown's still there. I don't see this scenario that everybody's talking about where Bateman comes in and starts getting 10 targets a game. You know, like, there's not enough targets to go around. I think Bateman will be an awesome piece for them, but fantasy-wise, I just don't think he's going to get the targets to be able to put up numbers. You know what I mean?
No, I think America is with you on, like, why Baltimore? Why?
Yeah.
Why'd you have to do this to us? Because I've also, obviously, he's a 5 in my talent department because I'm crazy about him. I gave him a 3 on the landing spot, and what you're saying is true. You know, because you want Lamar to pass more doesn't mean you get Lamar to pass more.
Yeah.
And if you're winning games, then you don't have to.
Yeah, you don't
pass
need
more.
to change it. Yeah.
Sure, they need to be a more dynamic team. Obviously, they haven't been a complete success because it's not diverse enough.
Yeah.
And I think if you're going to give me any of these wide receivers outside the top 10 to make my team that, it's Bateman. So
yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not betting against Bateman, but I would bet against Baltimore. So it's fine. It's like in my head, I can't do it.
It's such a weird situation.
But Terrance Marshall Jr., I think he could play the number 2 role this year.
Easy, yeah.
And I think, fuck, dude, I love this guy. I would say, like, I'm crazy about him, so we'll just pump the brakes. I don't think he's going to put DJ Moore in the rear view.
Yeah.
But I can see them being a 1-2.
I agree.
After this year.
I gave Terrance 4s across the board.
Okay. I got
everything.
a 3 on the landing spot because of Robbie Anderson.
Yeah. Well, I'm super stoked. I really do think he just comes in and just takes that spot. And I think they do the 3 wide receiver thing, and he's always on the field. You know?
Well, I've talked about this a little bit, but if you look at what Crowder was doing with Sam Darnold, like that slot receiver role that Terrance Marshall Jr. was playing his last year at LSU is a super valuable role in a Sam Darnold scaredy cat quarterback offense.
That's fair.
So I'm lighting him up, man. I'm at the point where I'm willing to take him over Elijah Moore and Trey Sermon.
That's fair. No, I think he should be. I think he could sneak to the back of the first round.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope he sneaks to the first of the second round.
So let's go Josh Palmer, and also I'll throw in Nico Collins there.
So both these guys got a huge bump for landing spot. Josh Palmer, I gave a 4, and Nico Collins, I gave a 3.5 for landing spot because I'm worried about the quarterback situation with Collins. If Watson comes back, that's like a 4.5. You know, because he's going to be.
You don't believe in Tyrod?
Who else is there to compete with Nico Collins, you know? I mean, Brandon Cooks, but he's a completely different type of player. Like, I think Nico Collins finds a role super early. Josh Palmer might not find a role this year, but there are people on the way out, and they need to pay all these offensive linemen they just got. Like, they're preparing for letting some of these wide receivers go. And I think Josh Palmer, he moved up my board from the third, like late third to middle second, just like Nico Collins did. So,
yeah, I'm with you on that. Obviously, Mike Williams and Jaylen Guyton are free agents next year in LA. So, as well as Jared Cook there too. So and Parham. So there's just like a ton of wide receivers and just targets just going to be available to him. So that's nice. I like Nico for all the same reasons you're saying. I prefer him over the rest of these guys just because he could own that offense. Mm-hmm. There's not going to be a permanent run game established this year. So if he can become the star of that offense, he could make a career out of it, you know? And they drafted him pretty highly at 89, considering the picks that they had were like no picks. So they kind of went after him.
He was their second pick. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. After Mills, the old Davis Mills. So I'm with you. Josh Palmer, I'm excited but not sold. I just don't see the Chargers continuing to draft non-skill positions. I think they dive back into the wide receiver pool year after year and just start to establish youth, because I mean Keenan Allen is eventually going to start rusting up a little bit. He's had some injuries in the past already, so. But fuck it, dude. Let's just skip right into Amari Rodgers. You had already brought him up.
Well, I'm going to stick with the slots, and let's go Tutu, Dyami, Amari Rodgers.
Okay.
So, yeah, and in however order you guys want to talk about them.
You said Tutu, Dyami, and Amari Rodgers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Amari Rodgers is hard to figure out because we don't know if the other Rodgers is going to be there. I'm starting to lean more and more to that he is. And so I went into this saying he was. If he is, that's a 4 for landing spot, just because they'll use him in the slot a lot, but not as like the number 2 guy. But still, he's going to get a lot of targets. I mean, I love it. I love the way he fits in. I already bought an Amari Rodgers jersey. Hopefully, I'll be able to wear it next week. I'm super stoked on him. I could see him, though, like being one of the best pieces of our offense and being like your 4th best fantasy receiver. You know what I mean? Like, I could see it being like he's great, kind of like Randall Cobb used to be.
Sure.
He would have these games where he would blow up for 30 points, and then he'd have a game where he had like 6.
Oh, Curtis Samuel.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like any slot guy. That's the danger of having the slot guy. So I still have Dyami Brown above him over in Washington. Gave him a 4 for landing spot, 3.5 for future role, and a 4 for raw talent. And then the other one, Tutu, was my 5th to last person, 42nd. If anybody can make him good, it would be Sean McVay, but I just don't see it. I think he'll be a gadget guy at best and not a fantasy guy. But I'll kick it to you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything to add. I have lower scores across the board except for Amari Rodgers. I have a 4 on the landing, 4 on the future, 3 on the talent. That's an offense where MVS, Lazard, Adams, and St. Brown and Toney are all free agents next year. Obviously, not all 5 of those guys are going to leave that team.
Yeah.
But it starts to make you think about what the future looks like, and I'm with you. I think I've always felt like Aaron Rodgers was going to stay with the Packers, and that a lot of this was news for the sake of news.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some shade up there, but
For sure, yeah.
I feel like that's like you get shade at your job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like so do I. So, and we give shade as well. So shit just happens, and when you're in the spotlight, it gets blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
So I'm still very happy about Amari Rodgers, and for that reason, he's the top on this list for me.
Okay.
I think he could be number 2, day 1 in that offense. And Dyami Brown, I don't think that I've ever been the guy that was super into him.
Fair.
I think he's very, very talented, but in this offense, I think that there's a theme that was in place before he was there. He's not a critical piece to the front lines on this Washington team. And then Tutu, rotational, could be cool. Might need an injury to do anything.
Yeah, he'll be fun, I think, but like, I don't know. No one could ever use Tavon Austin as a piece in your fantasy team, you know?
Yeah.
It'll be the same thing. He's going to play that kind of similar role.
Yeah.
All right.
More power to him, but sorry.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to roll it right along. I just want to say, I wonder if how much shade we'll get when we're in the spotlight, you know?
all of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
dude.
excited to see what that's like. So go ahead and like and subscribe. Get us there as fast as possible because I'd
Yeah.
love to see how we react.
I feast on your booze.
It's true. I can't go to sleep without being booed to my face.
I do love the slide on Dyami Brown, and then it's like Pearson in the background is the McLaurin jersey. So you as a McLaurin and having him in your dynasty, it's so funny. You're just like never been a fan, and like on top of that, he's threatening your like alpha receiver.
Man, I got Curtis Samuel too.
Yeah.
So it's like if this dude's a towel boy, that's number one scenario. But it is messed up that the one guy I've been, I'm not necessarily super down on. I just really, really think he had a lot of success in the Big 12 because the competition wasn't up
That's
to
fair.
par.
Oh, Dyami? Mm-hmm. He's in the ACC, dog.
Oh yeah, shit. In UNC. So
Like even-
I was thinking of
even worse.
Thailand. Now his knock was because the run game was so strong with the 1-2 punch.
Yeah, that's
that they
fair.
didn't have to give the full attention to the wide receivers.
Okay. You guys want ready to roll along to Anthony Schwartz, Des Fitzpatrick, Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Yeah,
This
that's
should
the.
be short and sweet, huh?
Sure.
I think. I mean, I'm gonna resort and maybe I don't want to. I know you're doing a great job, AJ. I think that Cornell, Powell, Des Fitzpatrick, and Amon-Ra St. Brown are all like super landing spot bump guys.
Oh yeah.
Should we package those guys together?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
Fuck me. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's perfect. It's perfect.
I guess I'll just jump in with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who has a landing spot of 5, because Detroit, he could easily be the number 2 target behind Hawkinson day 1,
And
which I don't think is going to happen because we don't really love Amon-Ra St. Brown, as evidenced by my talent rating of a 2.5. And I even gave him a future role of a 3.75 because even if he sparks year 1, I think he gets replaced as an alpha easily by anybody.
So here's my thing with the Lions. I think it's a good landing spot, but not a great one. I put it at 3.5 because I think this team is going to be focusing way more on the running game. And I think the fact that they didn't address the passing game was a clear indicator of that. St. Brown was the first guy they picked, and that was what, in the 4th round? 5th round? Whatever it was. And here's a future like prediction. I think fucking Amon-Ra St. Brown might be a sell high guy at the end of this year. Because I think this year he could get a shit ton of targets because there's nobody else there. But I don't think he has the skill. I had him at a 1.5 for skill rating or raw skill. I don't think he has the skill to play in the league. And so this year, he could get a lot of targets and produce, and then people will get excited about him. And then as soon as they draft somebody else, because Detroit is for once building their team from the line out, they didn't go after the skill position when they could have. They went after Penei Sewell, and that was very smart. And so now they've brought that foundation. Now they're going to go high when they go 4-13 this year. They're going to go after a skill position guy, and then Amon-Ra's right out the door. So I don't know. Maybe I'm too low on him, and I also hate the Lions. So I don't know. But
Well, okay. So, I hate to say it on him, but he reminds me that he's going to have like that Anthony Miller type of rookie year where definitely you want to sell high because he does have good hands and he does have some route running skills, but he doesn't have the ability to overcome the cornerbacks he's going to be facing.
yeah,
He needs, the Allen Robinson that Anthony Miller had to
open
give
it
him the
up.
opportunities. I think he's going to get a ton of targets. I think he's going to pull down a ton of passes. I think he's not going to have any yards after the catch, and I don't think he's going to score a lot of touchdowns. But then Tyrell Williams and Rashod Perryman are both on 1-year deals here.
yeah,
So
that's fair.
it's I fucking hate him, but you can't not. I mean, it's not as bad as Des Fitzpatrick, am I right?
Yeah.
Give me the numbers on Dez, man.
FitzPatrick for me, another landing spot of 3, actually. Future roll of 4, and raw talent is 2.75.
Okay.
I'm not super sold on him either, but he does land in a role where, who else is he fighting for?
He has to be the day one number 2.
Yeah. And so he's going to get a lot more targets. But again, it's kind of an I feel like he'll get leapfrog pretty soon. You know, like, and maybe another sell high guy. He could produce next to AJ Brown and with Derrick Henry, and then the year after when they take a receiver. So after he has like 4 games where he's got 5 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown, you go, oh, you want him for like a early 2nd round pick? And somebody will eat that shit up. And you bounce out before they draft another receiver next year and just completely erase him.
That's true. Or it could be a situation where the fantasy points that should be going to the number 2 wide receiver just end up on Derrick Henry's sheet.
That's fair.
So I just don't know. I don't trust the Titans to I think they want to establish their run defense this year, and I don't think that their offense, they don't view it as something that needs overhauled.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like pouring a bucket of water on a house fire, you know, like, well, we did do something, but like this fucker's burning down still. So
no, I couldn't agree more.
Cool.
And then Schwartz?
Are we doing Schwartz or?
I threw in Cornell Powell just because of the landing spot.
Oh yeah, love Cornell Powell. So I gave him a landing spot of 5, future roll of 3.75, and raw talent of 3.5. I love the landing spot because he's different from all the other receivers in Kansas City. And I think for that reason, he's going to see playing time because he brings their offense. He almost gives them, obviously not on this level, but like kind of like another Travis Kelce option, somebody to kind of like run and get open low so Mahomes doesn't either have to throw to Kelce or bomb it deep, which is what fucked them in the Super Bowl. Is that they just sat on Kelce and he didn't have time to bomb it deep. So now he's got another option that can kind of just run a clean route and get open. And then if one of his burners isn't there, Powell could see a lot of targets, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we're getting to the place where, I mean, the Andy Reid has the ideas, and he is slowly building the team that can be, seamless between his mind and what happens on the field. And just what you described, they've been missing that number 2 wide receiver that would give them ability to just like do funky, crazy shit we've never seen before.
Yeah.
I mean, Travis Kelce had an 11 touchdown season last year. That's stupid, man.
Yeah.
Like that shouldn't happen. That's just the regular season.
Yeah.
So the opportunity is super high here to distribute that a little bit. And so I'm all about him. I'm
all in. He moved way up the board.
Yeah, he's going to be fun to watch. So let's go. How do you think Anthony Schwartz, Jaylen Darden, and Amir Smith-Marzette? Kind of some smaller.
I'm going to throw Simi Fehoko in there too, if that's okay.
No, totally.
We can talk about those 4 all together.
Yes.
So Anthony Schwartz, Simi Fehoko, and Smith-Marzette all kind of have clear paths to playing time for me. Schwartz is kind of like an OBJ replacement, and I think they're getting prepared to move on from him, even if they don't want to come out and admit it. He's very injury prone. He's not worth the money that he is getting paid, and he kind of Schwartz has that speed to play a similar role. Is he as good as him? No, but I think they kind of are starting to realize in Cleveland that they don't really need that as like a dominant piece of their offense. They've got the running game, they've got Landry, and then you got this burner to go over the top that you can throw to sometimes. So I'm excited about him. Fehoko, I'm the most excited about because Michael Gallup's gone.
Yeah.
At the end of this year, and I think
Cedric Wilson as well.
Yeah, so both these guys are gone, and Fehoko, them drafting Fehoko was a clear sign to me that they have no interest in re-signing either of those guys.
I mean, they can't, right?
Yeah.
You gave Amari Cooper so much money.
Ezekiel Elliott still got a lot of money, and Dak just got a lot of money.
Yeah.
But that offense is still going to be really good. So having the third option,
And that defense is still going to suck.
yeah, and the defense is still going to suck. So having the third option in an offense that has CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper, that's awesome to me. I love Simi Fehoko's landing spot. And then Smith Marset, I don't know. There's guys leaving. I can't remember their names right now. He's just not a guy that I was super invested in, but I do see his path to playing time. And that's why he bumped up my ratings also.
Yeah, I don't think they. What is VC Johnson out after this year? There's nothing.
No.
I mean, it's still Thielen and Justin Jefferson.
Herb Smith, baby.
So I see Smith Marset as just being the number 3 guy.
Yeah.
And I think there's a viable role there. They're not running a lot of 12 personnel. They're going to have 3 wide receiver sets now that Kyle Rudolph's out of town.
And they improved the offensive line.
There you go. But, I mean, obviously, I can't say anything more about Simi Fehoko than you crushed it on that. Anthony Schwartz, Rashod Higgins' is 1-year deal here.
Yeah.
So they need to up that. I just, still not 100% in on Baker Mayfield. And it is a crowded wide receiver room, so I give him a 2.5 on the landing spot. But I do like
That's
him
fair.
a lot. And he was, highly drafted, especially when we're talking about these other guys. He was at the end of the third, and the rest of these guys were much later than that. I do like Jaylen Darden a ton. And I keep I don't know why. I'm all about him. He got drafted in the 4th. I talk about Tyler Johnson. I was in on him last year. He got drafted in the 5th. He only had about 18 targets last year, but he still was productive. And Chris Godwin, it's going to be tough for them to get him back. And Antonio Brown, who the fuck even knows if he makes it there this year?
Yeah, he's in trouble again.
Once again.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
But I love his skill set. And I think he's explosive, He's going to be a return guy. And there's a huge path for return guys to show out and get some rotational work. And I think he's the kind of guy that can take it up a notch.
I'm with you on that. I'm a little lower on it, but it would be said Chris Godwin is also still a free agent at the end of this year. And not that he kind of replaces Godwin, but that does open up a spot. For the third time tonight, this may be more of a I hate this team and don't want to talk about them type deal.
I'm still on the 2020. I like Tampa, and I'm not fully to the fuck these guys. I hate them.
Yeah.
Yet, but I'm.
But I do like. I don't think I was ever as high on Darden in general as you were. I only gave him a 2.75 for raw talent.
Oof.
So I don't know. This might just be a guy that I'm missing or a guy that I'm right on.
I gave him a 2.5 on raw talent. So.
Oh well, shit. Well then everything I just said is dumb.
No, you're good, dude.
But,
we agree.
yeah.
He's out of North Texas.
Yeah.
It's a small school. I just think that Tom Brady will respect work ethic.
Yeah.
They're going to give him a
But
ton of
realistically,
opportunity.
how long is Tom going to be there?
2 years, man.
17 more years.
I don't think he makes it out of next year alive, man. What are they going to do? They got Rojo and Fournette are going to be free agents, and there's nothing going on in the run game. And then all of a sudden, you're just getting blitzed every play, and the guy just gets torn apart.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they got a stellar offensive line, but at
They
some
do.
point, he's going to take a hit.
Yeah.
And
That's fair.
I mean, he's only 7 years older than me, but I can't take a hit like that.
I couldn't either.
100% not. We'll move on. We'll do some running backs. The thing I do want to say, though, is Simi Fehoko, man. I think that if you're in the late 3rd round and you have no idea who to fucking pick, dude, just pick that guy up because stash him.
Yeah, why
6'4", 4.4 speed,
Yeah, can we
knows?
just vote now to increase our roster size?
Yeah. Can we
In
get
the
some
league?
taxi spots? But
sure.
only I can have first priority on the waiver.
Exactly. We're going to be limping into the regular season with $20 fab left.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this almost is a curse researching all these guys.
Yeah.
So let's go Ramondre Stevenson, Chuba Hubbard, Kenny Gainwell.
Ramondre Stevenson. Chuba Hubbard sucks. His landing spot was terrible. Well, actually, I think his landing spot was really good because Carolina's offense I believe in, but his future role rating is what hurt him. I gave him a 2.5, which may be the lowest. Oh, I gave some people a 2. But that's what really hurts him. But I do think he has the talent, and I do think somebody like me as a Christian McCaffrey owner, go get this fucking guy. You need to, because if Christian McCaffrey goes down again, I think Chuba blows up in this offense, and you need those points on you. Who was the other guy you
Ramondre.
said? Kenny
Kenny
G.
Kenny
Gainwell.
Gainwell. He dipped so hard for me because of the landing spot and his draft capital.
Yeah.
The landing spot, I don't get it. You're getting a guy who basically does what Miles Sanders does. So why do you need another one? What was the point of that? And again, I just don't trust the Eagles. I don't trust the Eagles to know what they're doing. So I think he could see a role, but I think it's going to be one of these split RB. Like, honestly, I think he hurts Miles Sanders'
For sure.
value also. And it's just kind of like, cool, so you just ruined both these guys. You know?
I think it gives Miles Sanders to be the opportunity to be a between the tackles runner.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you're right. There is an overlap in the skill set, but I think that Kenny Gainwell wins out in the receiving role, and so he will play that role, hopefully allowing Miles Sanders to not just run into the back of his O-line more, but to actually produce. And I think a rushing quarterback, I guess I've always had that, but the current rushing quarterback might be a little
we
better.
still don't know that much about.
I know.
I don't know, dude. I'm just down on the.
I was
the
excited to
Eagles.
watch Jordan Love play, but whatever.
Take on Ramondre and Chuba for you, Dan?
I like Ramondre, especially. I think Sony Michel's getting flushed pretty hard. And Chuba, I don't know. I want to say that he could take 25% of the touches this year. He could be a guy that has a good game. He's kind of like Chase Edmonds was when David Johnson was still in town. Like, oh, nice. Like he did really well.
Yeah.
And if David Johnson gets hurt, then he could be amazing.
Yeah.
And then like in 2 years, you're going to trade Chuba for a first round draft pick, and then someone's going to, I don't know.
Yeah.
I love it, but I wish that he had gone somewhere awesome, like Atlanta or even Seattle.
Yeah, anywhere where he could have been the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Literally anywhere besides the best.
Yeah.
Besides
the top running back in the league.
Yeah, if you want to talk about bad landing spot grades, Eskeridge was worse, but then Hubbard, Tylan Wallace, and Kylan Hill were tied for second
we'll get
worst.
to that stud. Who got? I can't say that. Let's do some tight ends here. Pat Freiermuth, Kylan Granson, and Brevin Jordan.
Toit.
Brevin Jordan kind of is the same thing as the Nico Collins thing for me. He has a clear path to being the guy, but what is his quarterback situation?
Yeah.
Freiermuth, I don't know. Roethlisberger's gone soon. I don't know how to feel about that one. And Kylan Granson, again, like all three of these guys, I kind of just went, I don't really know. Kylan Granson, I like the landing spot of Indy because both those tight ends are gone at the end of this year. If I'm correct, Mo Alley Cox and Jack Doyle, but also
Jack Doyle had 2 years, but I could be wrong.
okay. Well, regardless, like
I got it.
he may be the second tight end, but I just don't see his talent level being the guy that you really want to fucking go after. But so Freiermuth is definitely on top
Jack
for
Doyle
me. Then
2023.
Then Brevin Jordan, then Granson. So, okay, Doyle's still there. Mo Alley Cox is gone at the end of this year. But
Correct.
I did hear today that Frank Wright wanted this guy from the beginning.
Okay, well then.
So that's interesting for sure.
Well, he got him, man.
Yeah, he got him.
With like the 5th round, whatever. I'm with you. I agree with you. I think Brevin Jordan, I want to say he's almost quarterback proof. in this system because I don't know. There's a lot of supplemental passing between the running back room and the tight end, and I know David Johnson is still alive and well, but I think that he's not stealing targets that largely in his current state, and I don't think Mark Ingram's going to be taking a ton of targets either.
Yeah.
And then we talk again, like the whole Nico Collins, who the hell's there?
Yeah.
So if you got a guy who can catch the damn ball from a scared ass quarterback, Mills or even Tyrod, starts to look up for me. And that's in year one. Obviously, I think Jordan Akins is out of there after this year.
Yep.
So I'm medium excited about Brevin Jordan. So, I don't really have too much to say about Pat Freiermuth. I think that was a kind of a sketchy pick.
It was weird.
And I like Kylan Granson, but I'm not chasing any of these guys after Freiermuth.
No.
And I still we know how the distribution of the targets in Pittsburgh has been pretty even.
Yeah.
And you're not cracking Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, even Chase Claypool. They just got Najee. He's going to get a ton of dump-offs. So
weird pick. But still, there's so many mouths to feed. He's going to be one of those
more needs.
Oh shit, I started him and he got 2 touchdowns for me this week, and then next week he doesn't even get a catch. So
yeah, definitely. We got about 2 more groups here, so let's go. Tylan Wallace, Jacob Harris, Frank Darby, and Michael Strachan.
Okay, Tylan Wallace suffers from the same thing Rashod Bateman suffered from, having the terrible landing spot, except that he's not Rashod Bateman. He's not that good, so he's going to get buried on that depth chart. Michael Strachan, I'm in it. I wanted the Colts to take a receiver, and then they took this guy in the 6th round.
I'm in it.
You can't get me to care that much about that. Jacob Harris is interesting, though. His metrics were pretty good, and then he lands with the Rams, and he's pretty good size. He's 6'4", 215 or something. Pretty good size. I'm just worried. I mean, they brought in Tutu. They have Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods locked up. And they brought in Deshaun Jackson, which everybody forgets about. So
I did forget about that.
Yeah, he's going to get buried on this.
6'5", 219.
6'5", 219. So he's going to get buried on this depth chart, but they clearly brought him in for a reason.
Tight end.
Actually, I said it on our recap. It's the Calvin Johnson role to me. Mm-hmm. A tall dude who's super fast. Obviously, he's not I'm not trying to say that he's Calvin Johnson. But having somebody to come out there and be that role for Matthew Stafford, I like that, man. He moved up the board. He wasn't even on my radar until the Rams drafted him, and now he's on there. And then Frank Darby, interesting because they got a lot of people leaving over there in Atlanta. I don't know. I've never been a Frank Darby guy, really. So I know he is, so I'll let him talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk about Frank Darby again. I'm just I'm so sick of talking about these guys. You guys know how I feel about him. His metrics were weak. His production was good, and I like his play style. So I'm going to skip straight to Mike Scratchin, man. I think that guy could really kill it with the Colts. He's 6'5", 226 with an 87th percentile speed score. So you're looking at a playmaker. And I see the opportunity. I don't know about Paris Campbell. And then you look at T.Y. Hilton as a free agent after this year. And who the heck's the other guy over there? Oh, Zach Pascal is a free agent after this year.
That's fair. I guess there is a pretty clear path for him. Maybe I should have rated him higher, but
I mean, you definitely not. I'm not going to say you should have done nothing.
Fucking idiot.
Jacob Harris. I am waiting to find out with the Rams. I know I keep. I don't want to throw shade on McVay because I really think he's amazing, and I think he's I think he's an attractive man, but
He is, yeah.
I'm not trusting him to make your fantasy assets his priority.
Oh, no, not at all.
And so I'm looking at maybe the 6th guy on the depth chart. He's not taking passes away from Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods.
Yeah, that's fair.
So there is a vacancy with the, Everett out. So,
Yeah.
or did I don't know. I'm going to fuck that up.
No, yeah, Everett's gone.
Everett's in Seattle now.
So
then there's another fella on that list, and I don't even want to talk about him.
Yeah, I think we hit everybody, right?
Higbee. No, we got some running backs left.
Oh, yeah, Tylan Wallace.
I'm gonna if
Oh, yeah. Who
dude,
cares?
if Jacob
Boo-hoo.
Harris, if Jacob Harris comes into the sleeper app with like a tight end / receiver, I will be adding him 100%. If I can start him in my tight end, and he gets 1 touchdown and 3 catches a game, it's better than most tight ends. But anyway,
Sorry.
let's
No
round
more
this out
tears.
with Elijah Mitchell, who we already talked about, Chris Evans, Kylan Hill, and then there's one more tier that I want to talk about, but let's go with Elijah Mitchell, Chris Evans, and Kylan Hill to round out the skill positions that were drafted.
All right. Well, I already talked about Elijah Mitchell. Obviously, everybody knows my feelings on him. If I draft him, I will be buying his jersey, and I hate San Francisco. But
We both have to get the San Francisco backs. Like, we have to draft him and buy jerseys.
that would be a cool episode.
If it's between him and Terrace Marshall, I'm got to go with the TMJ.
That's fair.
tough, dude.
Chris Evans, another landing spot guy for me. Got a 3.75 rating for a landing spot for me. He's obviously going to be behind Joe Mixon, but after that, like, he can easily win that second role. Like, I don't know who they got.
Samaje P. Ryan.
Yeah, like he can beat out. P. Ryan's just getting beat out all over the place.
They still got Rodney, right? What's they got?
My bad.
Goodness.
I like that, dude. A little spicy.
Anyway, I liked Chris Evans as a player. I just didn't love him, and now I think he finds a role where he can be somewhat successful. Kylan Hill, I'm not going to retread on this super hard, but I talked about it during last week's episode where Aaron Jones' contract is only like 2 years. Really, I could see them cutting him, and then Kylan Hill might, if he produces, kind of rolls into that. Mm-hmm. That Aaron Jones role with A.J. Dillon being the Thunder there.
I mean, it just sounds like you spent too much time thinking about the Packers to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
If I was them, fucking Aaron Jones, let's keep it going.
No,
man.
I want that to happen, but who knows?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to trust that organization sometimes, it feels like.
You're fucking telling me.
But I'm with you. I like Chris Evans, and I think that the role is wide open for him to be successful. I love Kylan Hill just as a dynamic guy that is going to get opportunity.
Yeah.
It's not the opportunity he could have got literally anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like,
Could be a kick returner, though, too.
For sure. Mm-hmm. So, I don't want to, obviously we want anyone to get injured, but he could be a really good guy to have on your team if something were to happen. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
No,
yeah.
just me. I should do that. I have Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tight, man. Well, that kind of rounds out our bracket, but I did want to bring up at least 2 more guys, and feel free to add one. We're not used to playing Superflex. We're getting into it this year. So for that...
Do we even talk about Justin Fields at all and Mac Jones?
Oh, shit. Well, we
So
missed
this
that.
plays right into the Superflex coming
Yeah.
up.
So let's talk Justin Fields and Mac Jones, and then I'd also like to throw out there like a Kellen Mond to the Vikings, Davis Mills at Houston, and then anyone else that comes to mind. So let's just talk quarterbacks
Sam
around it out.
Ellinger to the Colts.
I really like Jamie Newman to the Eagles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
I was joking.
I know you were
Yeah,
joking,
yeah.
but
So yeah, dive in. Like let's
right.
just do start with Fields and Jones.
Yeah,
then we'll go
real
into the
quick
other
on
guys.
Fields and Jones. Obviously, I think the Bears just kind of fuck up quarterback situations all the time anyway. So I gave him not that great of a landing spot, but he's a great thrower, and I'm worried that he is going to lead the Bears to like relevancy. So I'm super high on Justin Fields. He ended up right in that top 4 with all the. So I think it was Lawrence and then the other 3 guys, Lance, Wilson, and then Fields were all in the same. Mac Jones is a little like tier B compared to those guys just because, I don't know. Even Tom Brady wasn't the best fantasy quarterback all the time. He was a winner and super efficient, but like there were years outside of 2011 and 2007 where he wasn't like top 15 in fantasy quarterback. I could see Mac Jones doing something similar. Kellen Mond, interesting to me. I mean, Kirk Cousins is locked up for at least 2 years, I feel like.
100%.
So you got to wait on him, maybe pick him up next year. But he's got the athleticism that maybe the Vikings want to move to, which would be interesting. And then Davis Mills, poor Tyrod Taylor, he could end up starting over top of him. He was the first pick for the Houston Texans. And I think even if Deshaun Watson does get cleared of all this shit, I kind of don't think he's coming back.
No, they should have traded him.
Anyway, that was my rant. I wanted to get it all out there.
No, you're good, dude. I think we already kind of touched on the Davis Mills Houston situation. Yeah. Like, hey, you know, anyone under 25, if you want to come show out, like you could be the star of this offense, and that goes for Davis Mills as well. Mac Jones, I have a feeling that we're not going to see a lot of him this year.
Yeah.
I don't think if what's going on up there works, then it should be fine. The whole situation is just weird to me in New England. Like, they got all these running backs. None of them are amazing. They have all these wide receivers. None of them are amazing.
Yeah.
Stack the deck with tight end. Like, what's Cam going to look like? It's just really, it's hard to get excited about it because it's like a top-heavy roster. I don't think anyone's going to have as many skill position players on their roster as New England. They still got J.J. Taylor, you know, he's the best. But you talk about little running backs. Anyway, so Mac Jones, I'm not super in on him. I think he could have a great future role. He did some awesome stuff in Alabama, so we don't have to take anything away from his talent.
Yeah.
But Justin Fields, that's amazing to me. I think, it's a 3 for the landing spot just because I hate Matt Nagy. And I don't know, that wide receiver room gets real sketchy after this year.
Yeah.
But future role, I have him as a 5.
Yep, me too.
I got that raw talent as a 5 because I love me some Justin Fields. And so it's going to be a weird rookie draft for me, man. I'm in that get your guy.
Yeah, get your guy.
Like 4 picks between 107 and 109 and 207. So it's like, fuck, man, I could just do the grab bag. And he might just be on that list. So I'm super excited about him. Kellen Mond, my boy AJ won't shut up about him. So I guess I got to assume he's the starting quarterback for the Vikings as soon as week 9. So
goodness.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, man. If Dalvin Cook can't do Dalvin Cook things, then Kirk Cousins is not going to be able to carry that team.
Oh, Dalvin Cook's in
so.
Sorry.
Well,
it's
got weird. You could just cut the episode at the.
I am curious, and I'll have to go back on this, but the Mac Jones thing is interesting because I'm pretty sure the way his Cam's contract is constructed is like if he plays more than a certain amount of games, he gets a huge payday.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if that will have an effect. Like if they start out like 2-4.
Oh well, yeah. If they start out 2-4, then they're benching his ass.
Right.
But if he's winning, then they're not going to pull him.
Yeah.
I thought still the max dollar amount was like $4 million, even if he hit all of his incentives.
I thought it was 14.
Yeah, it's 14.
Is it 14?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think it's like
but they also
6
have
games.
plenty of money.
True.
Still, even after all the money they spent, so I don't think they're super worried about it.
Like,
but again, if they're winning, then they're not worried about it. As soon as they start losing, then no, we're not going to pay you $14 million for losing.
Right.
You know?
I just don't see Mac Jones jumping in and having any more success than Cam Newton at this point.
Yeah, heavy incentives that on a deal that could be worth close to $14 million.
Okay. Gotcha.
So
Nice.
Well, yeah, I just thought that was an interesting thing to monitor as well. And Kellen Mond, I think he was drafted to be the starter. Whether
Week
that
10.
talent will translate to the NFL is an entirely different story, but he was definitely
Always
drafted
is.
to be the future. But that's just my take. Boys, do you guys have anything else we want to talk about, or are we
Nah.
going to kind of wrap this up?
I think we should wrap it up. It's gone
Yeah.
a little long.
We
Definitely.
touched them all.
I want to say, if you guys want to follow us, subscribe on YouTube, hit that bell, right?
Bing, ding, ding.
We're on Spotify podcast. We're on Apple, Stitcher, wherever you listen to. If you're interested in that sheet, I was just thinking, if you want to send us a direct message, we can share that sheet with you.
Yeah.
It's super helpful for doing
it's super,
rankings.
and it's just fun to do. Like if you're like us and you're at work with nothing else to do, it was a really fun thing. So if you want to DM us,
That'd definitely be something that would be
Yeah.
on our website whenever we get that up and running.
exactly. So
Check us out, 2022.
2022. Yeah, I like that. But yeah, if you want that, you can direct if you know us or send a direct message on Twitter or YouTube, and we can send that to you. Can you send messages on YouTube? Comment below, and we'll reach out to you. That's even better.
We can link it or something. It'll be fine.
We'll do something.
We'll make a new Gmail that's accessible to the public.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll do some research. But anyway, come back next week. We're going to do a mock draft and compare it to our old mock, and it's going to be chaos.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a lot of
so
fun.
good. Yeah.
So, cool. Hey, thanks, guys. Rough Draft Research. We are out.
Peace out, guys.
Take your damn headphones off. Oh, I forgot about the peeing.